I had the pleasure of giving this award to Zig Ziglar just before he passed, Dr. Covey just before he passed. Unfortunately, I just missed the opportunity to give it to Mr. Rohn, Jim Rohn. These are legendary speakers, and I know that we all stand on their shoulders. But you know what? You guys did a lot of speaking at about the same time as they did. And Willie, you know, your earlier career. Let's talk a little bit about the transition, because it's funny as hell, right?
Yeah, it is funny.
It's
funny now. Oh, it's funny now. It wasn't funny then.
Your first major setback and what happened. So talk a little bit about the story of getting replaced by a karaoke machine.
Well, I was a nightclub singer. That's why I made the majority of my income. I sang jingles during the day for Pizza Hut, making it great. We work well together. News for and you. I sang jingles during the day, but I made the majority. That was, side money. The real money I was living on and bought a house with was my nightclub money. And we had built the #1 nightclub spot in Washington, D.C. People would line up 7 o'clock for the 8 o'clock show, 9 o'clock for the 10 o'clock show. I won the award for best jazz singer. Those are some of the awards: best entertainer, awesome, best performer. And things were going great. And then one night I went in and the club owner said, "We've made a change. We love you guys, but the owners of the club have decided, the group of us, that we got to get a better return on investment. And the only way to do that with a full nightclub is to lower the cost. And the entertainment, the band, is the biggest cost. There's something else going around the country, filling up nightclubs that's really hot. We bought a karaoke machine," and I was shocked. I said, "But what about my bills?" And I learned that night nobody cared about your bills but you and the people you owe. and I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. But someone blessed me, Kevin, with two things. They blessed me first with a motivational cassette tape. We remember the thing called cassette tape. And on that tape was a guy. Tony is a friend of his, and he became a dear friend of mine, Charlie Tremendous Jones, who said, "In 5 years, you'll be the same person you are today, except for two things: the people you meet who inspire you, and the books you read that empower you." And so I listened to that tape, and that same friend who gave me the tape gave me a book called Think and Grow Rich. I had never read a motivational book. I had never heard a motivational message, and it changed my thinking. And that was where my life shifted. That was the first big shift. The second big shift, after taking a job with the school system, after I shifted and took this job with the school system, started giving speeches to little kids about staying away from drugs. And I did that for a year. And I got so many invitations, I had to quit because I was getting more invitations than I could handle with my job to become a full-time speaker. Now I was making $150 to $200 a speech, but I was speaking a lot. I was doing 2 or 3 schools a day. The end of that first year, I had another major shift. I'd run out of money because schools ended in June and I was living hand to mouth, basically. I was working a lot, but I wasn't making much money. I paid my bills and had kids in private school. What am I going to do now? Somebody introduced me to the National Speakers Association. And that year I went to the National Speakers Association on a wing and a prayer. And I met people like Tony Alessandra. I met people like Zig Ziglar, W. Mitchell, one after another, who embraced me. Now, here's the important part. They embraced me and said, "Let me help you." And they want nothing in exchange. So what do you want? Nothing. Let me just help you. And they helped me to get my feet on the ground, to get some establishment. And so, some years later, 20 years later, I was inducted in the Speaker Hall of Fame and CSP, and now I'm the chair of the Speakers Hall of Fame Leadership Committee because somebody made that investment in me. And so I'm just honored that on this evening, I'm here with my buddy Tony, but I'm also honored that we could be here to celebrate the spirit of America. People know I'm pro-God, I'm pro-family, and I'm pro-America. I mean, I believe in the tenets that say that we are people who really want each other to succeed. And that is what I am so grateful for, that I'm going to put this in a special place, because when people come in my office, I want them to ask, what is this? This is an award that was given because I was just a guy who was helped by others. You know, there's an old saying, if you see a turtle on a stand on a post, he didn't get there by himself. You know, somebody helped him. And I've had so many people who've helped me along the way, who've helped me along the years. Some of the people you talked about earlier, Jim Rohns and Stephen Covey wrote the foreword for my Attitude of Excellence book. I mean, he became friends. We became friends doing an event in Australia together, and we became friends. Zig wrote my first testimonial for my first book. And so I'm just honored that I would be able to go from that broke, busted nightclub singer to be able to sit here tonight and get this honor. I'm overwhelmed. I'm blessed. I'm encouraged that I'm going to go the extra inch. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go the extra inch.
But Willie, I'm a little
concerned. Mrs. Alessandra credit for that. Not Tony, right. Mrs. Alessandra.
Yeah, what'd you say, Tony?
No, I'm a little concerned about us getting this award because Kevin said he gave it to Zig just before Zig died.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, Tony.
I'm hoping something's not going to happen now, Kevin.
When he said that, he said, I gave it to Zig right before he died. Then Covey right before he died. I said, oh, Lord. No, we got a long way to go.
I better change the delivery on that one then.
Yeah, we got a long way to go, Tony. We got a lot you have to do. We got a lot left to do.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, they went too early. But, you know, Willie and Tony talked a little bit about it. You know, obviously, you have similar paths. We have similar paths. Maybe it's a similar path of most human beings, right? Some of the things you've talked about, I write about in my book, my first book, Who Are You?, which is about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, meeting needs and meeting people's needs, and how do you help them advance? Willie, you get an opportunity, but this energy you have now, this isn't something you manifested. Something's telling me that this was your energy since you were a young man, that you've been engaged, that you've been energetic and enthusiastic your entire life. Is that true?
Well, you know, I'm a man of faith, and I believe that we all given gifts. I have the gift of encouragement. That's my spiritual gift, to encourage people. Now, it was misplaced. Okay, that's the thing. You know, when you don't know what your destiny is or where you're going, you don't have a goal in your life. Your giftings get misplaced. So that gift of encouraging people, of being high energy, it was for a part of my life was running women. I was running after women. I was hound dogs. You know, so I was encouraging pretty girls. You're so gorgeous. But when I finally figured out what I was born to do. You know, they say that the two most important days that you in your life is the day you were born and the day you find out why you were born. And the day I found out why I was born, that's when there was another shift. And so I am a person who always was pretty upbeat. I'm high energy. I'm an extrovert, but I married an introvert, and I know what it means to have those different personality types. And also I realize that I'm a man who has been blessed. I'm a man who has been blessed mightily with good parents. That's, you know, just like Tony, good parents, man, who believed in me. My dad was a journalist. My mom was a school teacher. My dad encouraged me to be an entrepreneur. And my mom encouraged me to have an education. And so I was able to take both of those parts. I'm an entrepreneur with an education. I got my undergrad degree, and then I went through the master's process. And then, but the difference between me and Tony went on and got his doctorate pretty early. He's been I got my doctorate just I've got my doctorate 8 years ago, because I went back to school because I realized I still owed that debt to my mom. That she wanted me to get, she got her master's, but she never was able to finish her doctoral. She started, but then she had my brother and I. So I went on back and got my doctorate. But the entrepreneur, the education, and the fact that I wanted to thank God for my parents. So first I had good parents. Then they put in me a work ethic. And I think that's critically important, a work ethic. And what I'm talking to young people and people who are millennials, I said, gotta have this work ethic. You gotta be willing to work. Just like Tony said, he's semi-retired at 40 hours a week. You know, he and I are of the same ilk. We out of the same cloth. I don't watch a lot of television. I don't waste a lot of time with stuff. People calling me for stuff. I can't do that. I got goals. I got stuff I got to do. And so I'm working here in my office, and I've been working like a beaver since the pandemic, opening up new opportunities and new possibilities for my life, because we haven't been able to give our regular travel and speaking. So I'm grateful for parents. I'm grateful for them instilling a work ethic. And then I'm grateful for my family and my friends. When you are a man who has a wealth of family and friends, you are blessed. And so I got really good family. I got a beautiful, brilliant wife who has made me better, much better than I was before I met her. You know, I tell people, I kept looking for a woman I could live with until I met one I could not live without. And so I'm grateful for her. And then second, this is my son calling me. And I got to take it, because when my son calls, Sonny boy, I'm getting an award, Sonny boy. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Sonny boy.
This is my son, William. He's an attorney, and he just got in from California. And I told him, call me when you get land. So I had to take this call. He knows if I'm not on the stage speaking, I'm going to take the call. So I'm going to call you back. You safe?
Yeah, I'm safe.
All right, I love you. I'll call you back shortly. All right. Okay. That's my son. I'm grateful for my family, my beautiful bride, and we have 2 kids, and that's my baby boy, who is an attorney, and he and his lady friend went to visit her mother in California for Christmas and New Year. So I'm grateful. He's a good guy. We're best friends, and I'm grateful for that. So you know what? I'm a blessed man. And so now my job is to live up to this award, that I got to live up to the honor. I had to live up to being in the Speaker Hall of Fame. Charlie Tremendous Jones said something I love as I got to be friends with him. He said, now that you're in here, it is the Council of Peers Award of Excellence. In Latin is a award that says that you have continuous excelleri, which means you're continually excellent and you're continually getting better. That's why we got a Tony Alessandra who finds something every year to work on, some new skill set. That's why we both just by chance are saying we want to learn Spanish. Well, we know why. You're in your, you're over 60, you're over 70. What? Why? Because we know that great ones are lifelong students, that the great ones never start bettering their best. The great ones are always trying to sharpen that saw. So I'm just honored that I am blessed with good parents. They gave me good values. They instilled a work ethic in me. They told me to be an educational, focused guy who was entrepreneurial. And then I'm blessed with a good family. And now I'm blessed, as long as God give me life, I'm blessed to go out and try and impact somebody else's life with a positive impact.
That's awesome, Willie. That's so awesome. And I think, there's so many things that are similarities, but there's so many things that we could cover in each one of those areas. When you talk about your upbringing, and I am going to throw this out there, this transition this year about Black Lives Matter and
sure.
Importance. And I actually have a page called All Lives Matter, but I created it 10 years ago. and it's how do we empower people to understand that they're valued regardless of their skin color, their sexual orientation, who they are, what they are. Maybe not everyone has parents around to inform them that they are worth something, that they have value. And I'm sorry to see that we have a society or a culture that and it isn't just America, because it's a global phenomenon now.
Right.
That the Black community feels undervalued.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say, Tony, that quote you gave, the Platinum Rule quote, I wrote it down again. Even I've had you on my XM show. Your spin on it tonight was so powerful, because you said in a time when we had to be more inclusive and we had to understand diversity, that where I see somebody who might be gay, I say, what does it work for you? And I've had to learn my neighbors are gay, so I go to their parties, and I'm trying to make sure I am inclusive minded. Now, You know, we have had the most interesting, incredible, challenging year. We had a pandemic, we had economic downturn, massive job loss. Then we had George Floyd happen, and what we had happen was we saw with our eyes something that what we could not believe,
Yeah.
and yet we as African Americans knew that it was not out of the realm of possibility, because we've always been told when you get pulled over by the police, keep both hands on the steering wheel. Not only did my mom and daddy tell me, I told my son that we had to talk. We call it the talk in African American households, the talk. When you put pulled over, which you will be, keep both hands and be polite. Now, also in the sense of what we've had to encourage and inspire others to understand the pain that when I looked at George Floyd, I only saw George Floyd's face about 2 minutes. The rest of the time I saw my son. When I saw that, I saw my son, my lawyer son, who might have made a U-turn in the wrong place. And they wouldn't have cared whether he was an attorney who had a degree from prodigious schools, Landon Boys Prep, then William and Mary, then Howard Law. They wouldn't have cared. He was a black guy. So here's what the principle is, that all lives do matter. All lives do matter. And until Black lives matter, we can't have all lives matter, because if they don't matter, they're undervalued. And what I give the analogy is this. If your house was on fire and you called the fire department and they came to your neighborhood, would you expect them to put water on all the houses? No, you want it on that house that's on fire. Well, Black lives are on fire. We've seen a guy killed because a policeman put his knee in his neck. We've seen a guy killed and choked for selling cigarettes in New York. We've seen a guy killed, unarmed, all of them, for running through a neighborhood, jogging through a neighborhood. We've seen the one that broke my heart. They all broke my heart. The one that broke my heart, I think, was that young boy in Colorado who bowed before he left the store. He was a violinist who was just walking home, and they said, "You look suspicious." And they gave him a shot that killed him. And he said, "I'm an introvert. Please, I've not done anything wrong." And all unarmed. So that house is on fire. And that water needs to go in that house right now and say to the world that we know that until Black lives matter, all lives won't matter. And right now they're undervalued. And
let me ask you the question there is that,
Mm-hmm.
so as you were saying, and I find it interesting, you're saying that you saw George Floyd for a moment, then you saw your son.
Right.
What I couldn't get away from, and we're only going to spend a few more minutes on this, I could see the disconnect, the lack of passion, the lack of concern, the void in the police officer's face. And the fact that he put his hands in his pocket, there was just, I think anyone watching that video, regardless of if you're from the moon, I think anyone watching that video could look and say, "Oh, there's something wrong there." Like, I don't know if he was drunk. I don't know what was wrong with him, but you could see he didn't care.
Well, that is why when the protests happen, an explosion of a protest, where usually you've seen Black people just by themselves protest. This was the sea change.
Yeah.
I live in upper Northwest Washington, D.C., very prestigious area. But I got a notice from our community chat line, come out on 16th Street. 16th Street is the same street as the White House is on. And we're going to hold signs up about Black Lives Matter. And my wife and I walked over to 16th Street. And we were amazed at all of our white neighbors who were saying, this has to stop. Yeah. Our Asian neighbors, our Indian neighbors, who said, we want to make sure the world knows. And it was a sea change where people said, you know what, it don't care if you're polka dot. I don't care what color you are. Wrong is wrong and right is right. So that guy was wrong. But this is a sea change. And I believe that if this country will become its greatest when we are all able to recognize, just as you said, and one of the things I've loved about NSA, I've never felt like the black speaker. Okay. I am the guy. Just like I said, I came and they said, what can I do? And it was, I think, only about 1% black when I came. And they said, what can I do to help you? And they did. Zig helped me, and Tony helped me, and W. Mitchell helped me. But they'd helped Les Brown before they helped me. And Les told me, you want to be in this organization. So, look, I'm just grateful. America is still going to be the shining star on the hill. I proclaim, as I said, I'm pro-family, I'm pro-God, and I'm pro-American. That we live, and Tony and I have traveled all over the world. And we always want to get back to America because still is the greatest country the world has ever seen. And yet we can still make it better. And I'm going to go another inch. Tony, you're going to hear this one a lot, Tony. Mama Alessandra is going to get lots of credit from me.
And appropriately, the American Motivation Awards honor motivational, inspirational, and patriotic Americans. And in this case, obviously, you're right on path. And just last couple of comments, Willie. I think about young adults that are home and they're disconnected and they're doing school from home and they're trying to find jobs online and they're disconnected from other people. And how do we encourage them to have a work ethic, to understand that 40 hours is part-time,
right?
That you do have to be able to put in extra hours in order to build a career or have passion about what you do. How do we fulfill that? How do we energize that, Willie? How do we get this next generation to understand the importance of it?
Well, here's what I say. That first of all, during this time of them being schooled at home, during this time of working in these new environments, there are lessons here. They're critical lessons for your future, because Tony knows, and I know, and you know, that if you live long enough, you're gonna see another crisis. Okay, you live this just about one every decade. Okay, and so there are lessons here to be learned that I talk about in my book. A setback is a setup for a comeback. Life is about setbacks. You have setbacks. From the time you learn to walk and fall down, through skinning your knee, through going through every grade level, challenges that you've had setbacks. And as long as you live, you're going to have more. So learn from the setbacks. Life is a great teacher. And so if you would learn from it, you can make life either your teacher or your undertaker. Your choice. And so we want you to make it your teacher. And I'm saying to my son, get ready, learn from this one, because I learned from 2008. I learned from 9/11 what to do when your speaking business goes south, when it goes away. What do you do? I learned lessons then that made it possible for me to be able to continue to shift and pivot doing this one, because I learned some lessons in the last one. And so I'm saying to young people, whoever might be watching this, that look, here's the real answer to your question is this. The harder you are on yourself, the easier life is on you. And the easier you are on yourself, the harder life is on you. So you choose which one you're going to be. I'd rather be hard on myself. I'd rather push myself to write another book, to make another call, to do that extra thing that will make me better. Because I know if I'm easy on myself, life is waiting for me with a 2x4 outside the door.
Unbelievable. You are so awesome. That is such great advice, man. That is awesome advice. And I just, I want to be able to let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your evening. You're both just tremendous, tremendous human beings and tremendous men, tremendous friends. I acknowledged earlier with Tony, Willie, that 2016, I was supposed to give Tony the Lifetime Achievement Award, and everything fell apart. And both of you were willing to pick up the phone. Both of you were willing to stay in touch with me. Both of you were willing to encourage me. And I will tell everyone that watches this that not only are you men that speak, but you walk the walk and you talk the talk. Both of you had my back. Both of you asked what you could do and gave me your love and your praise and your prayers. And I can't thank you enough for your support and your friendship and your love. And it was a setback for a comeback.
That's right. That's right.
And,
That's
and
right. And
come back.
your best is yet to come. I would like to close with something that this award makes me think of, and I want to share with all the viewers and all the people who are going to be watching this recording and everybody who might get access to this. I've been sharing this with my people on my daily radio show. I've been on Radio 1, syndicated radio now for the last year. I signed with them last December, not knowing that there would be a pandemic and that the audience would need my message every day. But also on my Sirius XM show. And now we even have a daily online video. If people go to winwithwillie.com, they can hear the song I created, We'll Get Through This. Just go to winwithwillie.com. You can see the song and you can get access to my 1-minute daily videos that we send out to the world every day, Monday through Friday. Here is one of the ones that we've been sharing that has had such a powerful impact. In the times of trouble, in times of crisis, in times of storms, you can look at two animals and decide how you're going to proceed. One is an ostrich and one is an eagle. Now, the ostrich, when the tough times comes, says it's going to protect its head, so it sticks its head in the ground. And it says, wake me when it's over. Now, the eagle, though, does something very odd. In the midst of the storm, in the midst of the toughest time, the toughest moments, the eagle takes flight and flies right in the face of the storm. And it hits the storm and goes through the storm. It struggles through the storm. It fights through the storm until it's able to get above the clouds. And then it can look and see the whole environment from 3,000 feet. And it looks at the panoramic view and say, you're right. There's a crisis right here. I see it clearly now. Oh my goodness, there's a big crisis right here. But there's good up the road. There's good up the road. And what I'm saying to everybody is that we're in the midst of a crisis. We still got a few more months of this crisis where there's some rough moments. But I want everybody to know to fight on because there's good up the road. There's better up the road. Just keep fighting, keep striving, keep working. Don't stop because there's good up the road and your best is yet to come. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Willie. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you so much for that message for everybody. An incredible message for people to take home and to their hearts, especially for 2021.